So, you know, some of the characteristics of Jefferson as a builder is he takes on the role as a builder himself, whereas most people of his time would hire a builder. The other thing is he specifies all the materials. He'll calculate how many bricks are needed to build a building. He knows what the mortar should be made out of. He knows the best ways to get so many shingles out of a tree of a certain size. And more importantly, he becomes a supervisor of all the work. And he will, if he finds a good worker, he'll try to keep them for years, even though that worker might have problems and other issues. Jefferson is all about quality control, and he's obsessive. You know, he's into every little detail, and that just gets bigger and better throughout his whole life because he's building things from 1770 until he dies in 1826. So, okay, cut that part off. Now,
no, actually, it's great. We'll just keep going. It's fine.
Okay, so a couple of very important and fun things that we found during the investigation were artifacts that were all grouped underneath the hearthstones in front of a fireplace. So in 1846, when they're rebuilding the house after the fire, they have some new stones to put down in front of the fireplace. And you usually put those stones in a bed of sand or mortar. So what they're doing instead is they are going outside the house that's been cleaned up after the fire, gathering up big chunks of fire debris and crunching up all the plaster, because lime plaster is mostly made of sand. And so all these chunks of plaster, they're trying to crunch up, but they're not doing a good job, or they were lazy. So they're just throwing in all this debris into this very small area to put the stone on. So we end up with pieces of metal, pieces of wood, nails, glass, pieces of the terracotta and tablature, which is very important. And then all of the little plaster pieces that weren't crunched up give us all the colors of the walls in the house. So in one little area that's about 18 inches by 4 feet, we had this treasure trove of material. Unfortunately, they only did that for one fireplace. The other fun thing is, you probably can't see this very well, but after the fire, there are many more wooden walls in the house. Jefferson's trying to build everything out of brick, solid walls. What happens, and this was probably true before the fire, there are rats in the house. Any old house probably had rats, and they are collecting all kinds of common, everyday things in the house, right outside the house. We found a rat's nest in the hollow walls of the house that had 150 years of collection, which is incredible because it's all the stuff that archaeologists could not find out in the ground. So paper, wood, food, fabric, nuts, fruit, all of these things would disappear out in the ground. Archaeologists find metal, glass, ceramics for the most part. So this is kind of the other half of what we can put together with the archaeological finds on the outside of the house. Unfortunately, this doesn't tell us anything about Jefferson because it's post-fire, but it tells us everything about the later family that lives here. What they're reading, what they're wearing, what they're eating, the games they play, the letters they write, which newspapers they're reading. It's an amazing amount of stuff. And it's the kind of stuff that on most restoration projects in the past, somebody would find it and throw it away as fast as they could and not analyze it. But we have a huge amount of this material, and it is very valuable. And there are some cases in other restorations, for instance, Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where they found a part that a rat took into the wall. That was the missing puzzle of how to restore the room. And there are other places where you find wallpaper, upholstery, things that would help you in the interior restoration of the house.